All right, let's get random and let's talk about Laguna Beach, MTV's big show from all those years ago, coming to Roku for a reunion hosted by the one and only Casey Wilson. I mean, this show was good. So for the most part, the premise is simple: reunion, but on Roku streaming channel. Hilary Duff saying, "Let's go back to the beginning." The nostalgia, what was the theme song from back in the day on Laguna Beach. And the show essentially ran 3 seasons, but this was kind of celebrating the first season, really the best season, Kristin, of course, took the realm of being the lead on season 2, and then they did have a season 3. I believe Tessa was the name of the lead on that one, but nothing compared to the original Laguna Beach. And Laguna Beach, really was the, star vehicle that had Lauren Conrad take it from Laguna to the hills. But this felt like it was a Laguna Beach vibe in a way that Lauren enjoyed it, where I don't think she enjoyed the hills. The hills was more work. Laguna Beach was more, the people she grew up with and stuff of that nature, and it felt more connected. And that's how it represented in the reunion as you watched it. And it was a really good watch. And when's the last time we've watched Roku streaming? Okay, so if I had to do some superlatives, I would say best looking. Everyone looked great, but because Kristin Cavallari is in the spotlight mostly, she probably would be the best looking. Funniest would be Jessica, because she's still so funny. Most the best glow up, or the best in the original Laguna Beach, she was kind of goofy, but now she's a little more stern and businesswoman, would be Lo. Easiest to get along with would probably be Dieter or Steven. Best composure and sophistication would be Lauren Conrad. And biggest surprise would be Kristina. I guess Kristina did suffer from some stuff that was very emotional and very much took a toll and was very taxing on her mental health. Kristina was so interesting because she was essentially on the show. I believe her family was very religious. She was, trying to go do musicals. Remember, she sang the song, the Mandy Moore song in A Walk to Remember. She went to go do that rehearsal and it went so horribly. So Kristina was a little bit more somebody you watched on the show. She grew up with the cast members, but she didn't have no drama really. Well, come to find, in regular life, things got a little hard, and so that was the biggest shock as far as what she shared with the audience. And let's talk about Laguna Beach, the significance of it. It's so funny. Growing up in Southern California, Laguna Beach was always there. I could only imagine not growing up in SoCal and seeing a show like the OC right into Laguna Beach back to back and being what is that place? The same way I always loved a New York City, everything that I, was very much inspired by when I was younger was, oh, this is from New York, that's from New York. New York was energy. So Laguna Beach, SoCal stuff never really moved me at all. Still to this day, really. I mean, it's oh, great weather, the sun. It's well, there's great weather and sun everywhere. But nonetheless, if it drew you in, and it's this giant MTV show, and the cast members are both on the show creating great storylines and showcasing everything that's going on style wise, culture, vibes, and then they're going to TRL at that time. This was a huge moment. Laguna Beach was a reality TV show coming off that era, in between, Making the Band was kind of hot at the time, and then Real World was kind of phasing out. Jersey Shore was all of that era for the most part. And Laguna Beach just had this special thing. Now, the cast themselves was probably what made it so good. I mean, you got Kristin Cavallari, Steven, Colletti, Steven, and you also got Lauren Conrad as the 3 major components of this show. And what's interesting is the reunion was really good. It was hosted by Casey Wilson. Of course, I've loved Casey Wilson for a while. She was on SNL, but she also had that TV show Happy Endings, and she's done a lot of other stuff as well. And she's, pop culture, reality TV, podcaster, she's just fun, and she was the perfect person to host the reunion and get everybody together. I think this was a good show. I don't know. Did you like it? This is big because it was on the Roku streaming channel. It's so funny because you have these shows that could have just went to like an MTV or Paramount Plus. And, sometimes these shows don't get picked up, even though you assume that they would. Thinking about it, like, Padma Lakshmi, who's for years, she was, of course, a model, but then she was also Top Chef and she was an author. Well, after she left Top Chef, she didn't necessarily get an easy transition into the next show, which the next show she did was on Hulu, and it was the name of the cookbook as well, and that was called Taste the Nation, I think it was called. And now she has one on CBS Paramount, but like, all of these talents and these, big cast members that did well on a certain show, it's not a guarantee they get a pickup on another, when a concept comes through. And Kristin, Lauren, and Steven seem to have a concept, but not everyone bit, but Roku did. So that's like the really interesting thing. Like, are there more shows on Roku that you're going to like and be entertained by? Is Roku the next big thing as far as a channel? Like, who would think, But maybe they are. Maybe they'll, give the randomly Ronnie Jr. show, and that'll be perfect too. Oh, and by the way, one thing, we'll stop down for a second and say, if you want to support, make sure you support my stuff. RandomlyRonnieJr.com is where everything is at, and of course the Patreon, etc., etc. Just a way to financially give a little bit of help is always nice. But why it was also nostalgic for me too was because this was like the era of one of the projects I even did, Fuse TV, and being lights, camera, action, New York City, and MTV was of course the big dog, but Fuse TV at that time wasn't bad either, and it was a lot of fun to do, And so thinking about like all those years for these cast members you're watching on Laguna Beach, and then you look back at like, where you were at in your journey of doing things or whatever. But I will say the best thing about this reunion I thought was it was very grown up. It wasn't, we're going to argue forever, we're going to fight forever. If they do a second version of this, like if they all go to Cabo or something, maybe it'll need to be more dramatic. But I think Lauren Conrad having the, executive producer role along with Kristin and Steven, like the specificness made sense, because you don't want to put so much out there when you did this show years and years ago, and now things have changed in your life. So I kind of get that. It's funny. Sometimes we look at people who are very particular like that and we're like, oh, they're so stuffy, they're so uptight. But I think sometimes it's really nice to look at yourself in a way and represent yourself in a way where you're like, I'm not willing to do that. There's no amount of money that will, waver on my my character and such like that. And I think Lauren really made sure that that was prominent in the show. But it still was entertaining, because here's the big thing. You can think, oh, well, if there's no drama, like, is it not going to be interesting? But it was a lot of emotions. They had a segment where, some people aren't, either married, as far as the parents or whatever, or some people aren't around anymore, stuff like that, real emotional stuff. Just looking at the course of like that many years ago to now, and they all grew up in this wonderful, beautiful, rich Laguna Beach, it just shows like where you start and where you go, kind of a thing. There was some success stories, like Lowe's doing really well, Morgan's doing really well. They got to Skype in or Zoom in, whatever you want to call it. And it was just a really good, the set was nice. Everyone aged really well. You got to kind of look at yourself and say, gosh, I'm not really aging as good as them because they all looked really good for doing this show all these years ago, and then popping back up to Laguna Beach, a reunion on Roku. It was really pretty entertaining. And we don't get a lot of positivity with television these days, and little scripted shows specifically, so that what you do get that, it does make you want to at least enjoy the positive energy about it, because it doesn't happen a lot. I think more shows should go that route. I think it should be a lot more fun. And like I said, you can always necessarily get the dramatic part about it because you just reference the show. You reference how, two cast members were pitted against each other because it was a love triangle. Like, you got places to go. But they did it right. I think they did it well. So, just a little nice recap saying I thought it was a good, episode. Casey Wilson as the host, it's kind of perfect. All the Laguna Beach quintessential scenes and locations. It's like the perfect way to do this. I think maybe Roku could do more shows that are similar.